Welcome, Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising. Pisces Ascendant is at 1558, so that's 16 degrees. And the rest of their first house, this person's first house is pretty big. They have a buttload of Aryan energy, okay? They have about 26 degrees of Aries in their first house as well. So that means if you have a 1558 Pisces Ascendant, that leaves you with about 15 degrees, 14 degrees of Pisces in the first. And because this person's first house is large, that makes that room, that extra space filled in with the 26 degrees of Aryan energy. Okay, so house sizes can be different because depending upon how many signs are squished in or not, right? We see some houses where they're really thin, some where they're really big. Obviously, a big house is going to have likely, one whole sign in it, or it could have multiple signs in it. We're nearing the end of February, okay? And the big stuff starts to occur when we get the beginning of March happening. Things change, planets move. And right now, we're looking at the planet Mars, and Mars is still out of bounds, okay? It is pulled off of the galactic center. It has pulled further away from the world axis. And so now we're in the stretch, right? We're in the last 5 days or so of this month. We do have leap day this year, right? We have a February 29th. So let's dig deep into the all astrology. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply pull up February 29th. All right, we're going to start there and give a kind of general overview of it's the end of February. We're about to dip into March. There's a whole buttload of videos out there for March already for your rising signs. If you haven't seen them, go and find them. There are some relevant ones that I will connect to this video down below that have to do with everybody. So regardless of your rising sign, that would be the full moon, which is a big Virgo full moon. It happens at 1937. So this rising sign that I just gave out was a 1558 degrees Pisces rising. Well, at the opposite end then, okay, at the opposite end, if you've got Pisces over here, that means you have Virgo down here, okay? So remember, all signs in astrology have a pair, have a partnering up, okay? Because their polar opposite literally is their partner. So if you're Pisces Ascendant, you see the big picture. Pisces Sun, you see the big picture. Pisces Moon, you see the big picture. You understand the connectivity that goes on. Virgo, the opposing side of it, is the details that make up this whole. That's what Virgo is great at. They see all the little steps that it takes, all the parts that need to be involved, all the ingredients that we need to have to get to the whole. So at the opposite side of a Pisces rising is a Virgo descendant. So the Virgo descendant energy, same degrees, right? 1558. Well, I just said we're going to have a full moon at 1937 in Virgo, which means that for this individual, I'm actually looking at someone's chart, and I will give out a birth date. It's funny because this chart was kind of like I just kept hearing, you know, it's time. This person's chart has to be done right now. And so it'll be very relevant, and we'll see why it's very relevant. The full moon's coming up. They have not only their descendant at 1558, which literally is 16 degrees, which means they're about 3 degrees away from the full moon energy. And because full moons are strong, it's going to be relevant. Also because Mars is no longer out of bounds at this point. By March 3rd, Mars is no longer out of bounds. However, for this individual, they have their natal Mars sitting at their descendant, right? Which means that descendant point is kind of hot. It's powerful. It's got layers of energy built up there because Mars is there and it's a descendant. It's a significant point. Now the full moon will also be at the opposite side. Their Mars is like at 14 degrees, so it's conjunct the descendant. The full moon's going to be at 19 degrees, all right? So it's going to be 3 degrees away from that descendant marker. So for them, this is going to be a big full moon, right? It's a big full moon for all of us because opposing the full moon, we're going to have the sun, which is what makes a full moon, the sun at one end and the moon at the other. But Neptune is also going to be conjunct that sun. So this is a very empathic time, okay? And the days leading up to the full moon is when the sun and Neptune will literally be holding, like sitting in each other's lap. And it's a time of powerful, energetic emanations from the other side coming through. If you're a Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising, okay, this would mean, right, the 12th house, which is Pisces energy, which is the other side. It's what we cannot see, right? It's that ethereal realm that is invisible to the physical eyes. It is all about the third eye, right? Seeing with the third eye. It is about that realm stepping through. It is about the physical, tangible layers diminishing and being dissolved by Neptune, because that's what Neptune is. Neptune's the ruler of Pisces. So it dissolves our sun energy, which is our strength and our vitality. So if you're noticing at the end of February, feeling a little bit more sluggish, or maybe not sluggish during your daytime activities, because a lot of this has to do with your private chart. However, the sun itself is now in Pisces. So the Pisces season is upon us. And the sun representing our light and our energy, literally, and our beams that radiate from us, being right in the Pisces murky cloudiness and clouds of confusion and delusion, but dissolving clouds, right? Dissolves our energy, dissolves our light, okay? Covers the light, clouds the light, dims the light. So it diminishes that which we can radiate from our being, because that sun is literally our light that we project. Therefore, sleeping, it may be harder to get up. You may find dreams enhanced. I know for me, dreams have been extremely enhanced, and I've seen some comments from folks, or they're saying the same thing. So this is going to be typical at this time. This is normal, because it's really a thinning of the veil. It is a time where that other realm is stepping through. I had another person I was reading the other day where being in touch with a loved one that had passed on about 6 months ago, and saying, wow, this is stepping through stronger now than before. And this is that time. For some folks in your chart, this is a beautiful time for that, okay? So it's going to depend upon some other things. So if you're new here, if you've never had a chart done by us, if we don't have your numbers and you're curious, just comment your stuff down below and we'll hook you up. We'll take care of you, okay? So here, let's give out a birth date, time, and place, okay? Because I know there are people out there who are listening who this is going to affect. There's going to be a lot of knowledge that I can give in this reading that will help them to better understand their own chart. So what I'm going to tell you is this person, first of all, is a Capricorn sun. All right, so if you're a Capricorn sun, this will be relevant for you, because anything that's aspecting this sun, it has to, obviously, this person has an 8-degree Capricorn sun, all right? So find out, do you have a Capricorn sun at 8 degrees? Because if I have anything I'm talking about transiting planets, they're going to aspect that sun. This will also aspect your sun, right? So give it like a 2-degree orb. So we're going to say if you have a Capricorn sun between 6 and 10 degrees, watch this video. If you have a Pisces ascendant between 14 and 18 degrees, watch this video. If you have a moon in Gemini between 4 and 8 degrees, watch this video. So the birth time, birth date, birth place, all the good stuff that everyone wants to hear. We're looking at December 30th, 1979. Birth time is 11 a.m. Lake Charles, Louisiana. So the first thing we have to talk about, because this is what the universe kept screaming out to me today, literally. Because, it's just time to get this person's chart done. They're going through a thing right now. It's all about relationships. Significant one-on-one relationships. And it's not just, it's your female friends. And if they're not female, it's feminine relationships that have a strong feminine quality to them. And when I say that, it can be relationships. It's not about gender. It's not about gender. Like, gender's kind of old school, actually, right now. For those who are moving with the cosmos and who can understand and feel the energy that's being presented, gender is yesterday, okay? Because we all have divine feminine and masculine energies within us. We all have 360 degrees of all of astrology within us. Even if you're looking at your own chart and you're like, but I only have planets in 4 houses. You have planets in those houses, okay? You don't understand how that works? Ask me, I will explain it. Anything you guys want to know, if there's a specific video you want done, comment, right? Obviously, we want to give videos out that you guys want to hear. Relationship thing that's going on in your world right now. This isn't new, I know that. You had some major stuff before January, actually. The big conjunction was in January, but because you had things that lined up so tightly with it, you were feeling this stuff months in advance, maybe even 6 months in advance. Significant one-on-one relationship, partnership, marriages, business partnerships, things where you literally were committed, where you were devoted, and being able to compromise with people in your life were all tested and are still being tested. Right now, Jupiter is pulling up to testing you have Pluto at 21 degrees actually in Libra. And having Pluto at 21 degrees, having Pluto in Libra is all about transformational relationships. So it can't just be a relationship that you're going to have with folks where they're always going to be about learning and evolving. Always. They're going to be deep, right? They have to touch in on a deep level in some way with these people. And those are the folks that you're going to have relationships with. They have to be constantly growing, evolving, and changing. Now, obviously, the details of that and how that looks in your life is going to be different for everybody in their chart because everyone's got different things happening. So it's, as they say, the devil's in the details. It is those beautiful details that make up and that create our beautiful individual, unique selves. You like details. When it comes to work and working, you have an ability to have details where you know how things, like troubleshooter, this could be you because you've got some strong Virgo energy in the house of Virgo. So when it comes to serving those that you care about, serving those that are important to you, you work very hard at that. And the other thing I have to touch in with that is important is your midheaven, your goals. You are like this person who wants to be known as the person who just kept climbing. Not just kept climbing, but who would go off the earth to climb. Mountaintops aren't high enough. You need to go up to the cosmos, like you are the astronaut. Okay, you're that person who sees themselves like, I am out there, right? I am up there, I am out there, I am beyond. Astrology would be something that you could handle if you ever wanted to dip into that. Now, getting back to your relationships, the relationship testing that you're going through, accept it as a test. And I know you had to have already because it was a Pluto squaring Pluto, which is a dismantling at the core root level, a reconstruction, but to the degree where we're pulling out the old pipes and we're changing the piping, literally, right? It's not even about building on top of this existing foundation, it's changing the foundation itself. So that is a big deal. Now I'm bringing up the full moon because it happens on your descendant. Your descendant is significant one-on-one relationships, okay? Do you have an ability, because you have Mars there and because the full moon's going to be there, you want to be really cautious. There's going to be a discouraging feeling, okay? You might get criticism from folks in your life, people obviously who are important, but it may feel, it might be this, I give up. You know what? I'm done. I give up, right? And this isn't me saying I give up like, okay, it's time to go kill myself, give up. It's just, I give up on people. I give up on relationships. I give up, it's that kind of discouragement. Now, because there's Mars there, Mars can be very assertive and irritable, much less patient. The one high word of caution I would give for you is that around the full moon time, you are going to want to understand, be aware of what rises up in you, your anger or your impatience, recognizing the ego and putting I don't want to say put a leash on it, but that's kind of what it is, because that's for what I had to recognize in myself too, is when we allow it to just run rampant and we make other people adjust to the ego, the little beast that we allow to just run around and do whatever it wants, knock shit off tables and ha, oh well type of thing, deal with it. It ends up controlling you, right? And destroying relationships in your life. Now, I'm not saying that this is you. However, I'm saying that on this day, if you're not aware of the tendencies that are within you, what happens is we kind of push it away and we hide it, all right? Instead of taking that rising up of power, which is what it is, and putting it to some use. Be creative with it in work projects. Take that energy, that drive, that irritability, that I just feel like I'm going to explode if I don't do something. Well, do something, but do something constructive. You're getting a heads up. So do something constructive. You have some time to go and be physically active, right? Because you've got some strong indicators that show that you can definitely be that person. Go work out, go get on the bike, go run, go do whatever you got to go do. Run. Get the energy out. Like I've had folks that I'm close to, and my best friend's husband will go out and literally dig holes in the air. That's why I always make a joke about it in the video. Like he's a big gardener, but he'll go out and like he's chopping down trees. He's there's no just like a lot of very physical work to get rid of the energy. If this isn't done, the tendency would be to, even if we don't let it come out through our mouth, when we hold it in, what happens is, because it's who we are, because it's what we feel, what we're emanating, It's radiating out of us, like it oozes out of us, whether it comes out of the mouth or not. So what could happen is, because energy is a boomerang, now this applies to energy in general for people listening, regardless of who you are. Because it's a boomerang, right? It comes right back to you. That which is within you gets drawn to you. So the whole point is, be careful, because people may come to you inappropriately. People may come to you and have words that feel like fighting words. People may come in an assertive way where it's just like, whoa, you need to back up a little bit. So the whole recommendation is just step back, be aware of this energy, recognizing that it is within you very strongly, because your Mars is playing a role, okay? And if you are not careful, because your ambitions are going to be real high right now, you're seeing this, the transiting Mars is literally coming up on trining your natal Mars, which gives you a lot of energy and strength and drive. Ambition is like on 10. So you'll want to be careful when you have moments, because things will be going your way. Like this drive, this passion, this energy you have, things will be lining up for you. Or it'll just be like, okay. And you know how it is when things just happen, right? It's like the dominoes start to go, and it creates the picture that you had planned on it being. Well, what happens when someone kind of puts their hand down and stops one of the dominoes, all of a sudden it's like, why the hell did you do that? You know what I mean? Like someone's trying to, stop you, right? It's trying to kink up your hose type of thing and stop your flow. And it becomes about, hey man, this was mine. Who are you to put your 2 cents in or to try to stop this action? So all you want to do is just be aware of the tendency and the ability from it to escalate and not to go there. That's it. And get your energy out in advance in a really good, positive, productive way, because folks may come to you in this assertive way. All right. And so knowing that, it's about choosing battles wisely. It's not about back down and, don't set your boundaries and standards and correct, have your say. It's not about be quiet. It's just about, if you feel strong enough and confident enough that you can speak during a full moon with tempers controlled, without hurting, right? You can be clear and logical and rational. But if you can do those things in a calm way, then so be it. It takes a lot of strength, though, and a lot of self-awareness to be able to accomplish this, which is why typically the recommendation is to just step back and chill a day after the 10th. After the 10th, energies are lessened, emotions are lessened, things aren't as hot, you're going to be a little bit more clear. So again, this was in your 7th house, and it is feminine energies. And this is your groups. This is friendship circles as well, which could mean stuff on the internet. All right. When we look at the Aquarian energy, which is what I'm looking at for you, this includes social media. This includes advancements for humanity. Anything that regards things that helped humanity get ahead. Okay. Because the Aquarian energy is so outside of the box. By the way, this is what you absolutely love. You love things that are all about that, but you want them to be beautiful, not just any old thing. You want it to be nice, to somehow create symmetry, because symmetry is a thing of beauty, right? But it should also be very unique, and it could include food. It could include textiles and clothing. It could include just anything that makes things more beautiful in your eyes. All right. And so this would be this could express in so many different ways. Right now, food is a big factor too, I want to mention. And I have to mention that for you. That was one of the things that came up too, food and digestion and your health right now. Because your Venus is in the placement that Venus is in for you, there is this great opposition for a love of things, unique and different things, but it directly opposes your health, literally. And it's going to be about digestion, your intestinal tract, just like all that fun stuff. It opposes that. And right now, Sirius represents our food and our grains that we intake, okay? Sirius is opposing that right now. So it probably started within the last week. You might not have noticed it because Virgos typically, you have a lot of planets there. So you're typically going to have intestinal stuff on a regular basis. And you probably think that all people have that in a way, or did for a certain amount of time. because of the fact that you've always had it in your life. And a lot of times when we deal with stuff we've had all the time, we think, well, that's normal. Doesn't everybody have this? And it's like, no, not really. Anyway, so there's a food thing. And so astrology would also be to your benefit to learn it to the degree where you can see where Sirius is moving in your chart and where you can see other planets are moving. Because when they start squaring your stuff you have in your 6th house, you have Jupiter there, you have Mars there, you have your North Node at 0 degrees there in Virgo, which is big. It's really powerful, which means, yeah, you could definitely have some internal stuff. And it's not to be like all big, bag, scary stuff. It's just that you want to do things 100% natural. You want to be all holistic. This would be to your benefit greatly. And this was one of the big things that was being pulled in to talk to you about right now. We have a couple of things like Sirius and Chiron that are adding irritation. Okay, but you got to know something before I let go, okay, at the end of this video. When Mars starts moving a little bit further in March, and let's take a peek because it's going to be a bigger factor, okay? Mars is a malefic planet, okay? It usually, not only does it test things, it makes it really difficult, and like harsh words are said, typically. We're very assertive, and our ego is just on 10 at that time. What's going to happen is I want you to be really, really aware that you are going to feel very powerful. Others around you are going to be very powerful. It is a very highly combative energy you're going to be looking at. You've got Mars and Pluto squaring up. This is in your relationships. March 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, I want you to be careful, all right? There's a combative energy. And I mean going from 0 to 10. It's considered a time of you want to be careful because it's a time where I don't want to call it accident prone, but if you were to get into an argument with somebody and get in the car and drive off mad, right? Don't do it. This is a time. This is a window. Those dates, listen to those dates again. That is a time where if there's ever going to be such a thing like accidents happening, it will be during that time. It won't be because it's a hex, right? Or you're doomed. It's because of carelessness. It's because you get so upset or somebody you know gets so upset, right? Because what is within you, it is also going to be around you. Energy is a boomerang. So you want to be really careful around those dates that you want to set up safe borders and boundaries, all right? It is a time of it. You could also be careful as to where you go. Literally, any places that you go, don't frequent a shady place. When I say shady, I mean like, a yellow zone district type of stuff. Don't go places that are known to be dangerous. I'm only telling you this because of this aspect you have going on. It is a time where if anything is going to jump off and occur, it will be during that. I want you to be extra careful. Keep in mind, Mars carries a knife. Mars is the warrior. Well, when it squares up with Pluto, you can bring a knife, but guess what? You're the guy who bought the knife to the freaking gunfight, right? That's Pluto. That doesn't mean Pluto has to necessarily be bad, but Pluto does transform us. And normally it does it in a very big way. So depending upon your degrees of evolution, depending upon how sensitive you are, is all about how the universe interacts with you. It's, for a person who's super elevated, this could be something no more than an elevated verbal communication, okay? For some, and by the way, this could be at work, but it looks like it's definitely it's relationship related, and it could be professional relationships that you've worked on for a very long time, all right? That's where I'm seeing this at. Your friend group is included in this. Do you have friends at work? Okay, this is all part of that picture. So I hope that this helps. I hope this gives you a little heads up for what's coming, and just recognizing that this will, having your heads up about the end of March, or I should say mid-March. I'm hoping and praying that it helps. That the conversation, an elevated conversation. But if you're not an aware human being, remember, it can look darker. It can be something where if we're not paying attention, the universe has to come at us with big things, right? Like another automobile or something. And I'm not saying, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, this is showing me, yes, you're going to have a car accident. I was just giving examples, okay? I believe in free will. So I don't like to be that astrologer who tells somebody, this is what's going to happen to you and this and this and this. No, there are degrees, many varying degrees. And I encourage people to use their freedom as much as possible in their life. So with that, I hope this has helped to put some light upon your path.